If you ever felt like a failure was the end of the road, this video is for you. I've dropped out of school not once, not twice, but 3 times. Yet here I am running my own business. This is the story of how I turned 3 major setbacks into the drive to build something I'm proud of, my own creative business. Along the way, I learned that failure isn't a dead end, but a detour to something better. Each time I felt like I had nothing left, I discovered a new path forward. One that brought me closer to who I truly am and what I'm meant to do. If I can turn all this around, so can you. So let me start from the beginning. My first dropout. It was a tough decision, but here's what happened. Let's go back to year 2015. I spent 3 years studying art and design in college, completely certain about one thing. I wanted to be an artist. But it wasn't until my final year of college I decided to pursue architecture. I got scared and backed out. I guess architecture seemed like a more practical choice, as often others said. I was so passionate about the projects we work on that my teacher once told me that I wrote with real depth. I used to feel a little bit embarrassed about that because when I get passionate, I dive deep. I pour all my emotions into it. But when she said that, I felt a little bit better knowing that it was a good thing. After college, I applied to university to study architecture. 2 to 3 months in, I started feeling down as if I was expecting something more, but instead I felt out of place. I don't know, pretty sure, like 100% sure that I wanted to be an architect. I know I keep changing my mind, but this time I wanted to be an architect. But instead I felt out of place. I felt like I wasn't where I meant to be. But I pushed through because I loved the idea of being an architect, and I was drawn to the thought of telling people I'm going to be an architect. It feels so nice to hear that, and the respect people have for architects. Eventually, I decided to talk to my tutor about how I was feeling, and I was considering switching courses, fine art, finally, but she didn't. I don't know, there was just this feeling. I had a feeling that she wasn't a big fan of fine art, so she she hinted me at interior design, saying it was a safer bet, and even mentioned that there is no more space available in fine art because they're already full. So after 3 months in architecture, I made a decision to drop it. Choosing between fine art and architecture, it was a tough decision because fine art is something that I truly love, but architecture is a practical choice, Now with fine art out of the picture, I think fine art was always there in the back of my mind, just out of reach. I never chose it because it's a hobby, It's a hobby. Fine art. Learn by yourself. You don't need anyone to teach you because fine art is just for expressing yourself, right? Compared to architecture that you actually need someone to teach you about the profession. Architecture involves people, and in fine art, it just involves you because you're trying to communicate your emotions through visual. I just never chose it because I was scared. Everyone knows how uncertain a path it can be, and I feared it will feel like a downgrade from the prestige of architecture. So after my first dropout, I thought things might get easier, but it didn't. I found myself back at square one, unsure of what to do next. I tried again and again, enrolling in a different program, this time interior design. I thought maybe this time would be different, but after 3 months, it was clear that everyone had already formed their own groups and I felt left behind. As an introvert, it was hard for me to take the first step and approach others. First, it felt like I was forcing myself into something that wasn't right for me, ignoring my own passion and choosing to follow other people's opinion instead. But I decided to give it a chance, to give myself another shot to prove that maybe this was the path for me. I stayed a while longer, holding on to the hope that I could make it work. I really enjoyed our coursework. It was so much fun. My favorite part was working on 3D models. I would spend hours perfecting my projects, and honestly, I miss those days. The first 3 projects, I fell in love with the work. But by the time last one came around, I started feeling really down. I couldn't see the end goal with this field anymore, and I'll be honest, I paid someone to do the project for me because I just couldn't keep up, and I was constantly procrastinating and my mind was always elsewhere. I only lasted a year before I eventually dropped out again. So after my second dropout, I started to deeply question my direction in life. It felt like I was stuck in a cycle of trying and failing. I didn't know what I want. I wanted to be everything. I wanted to be an architect, I wanted to be an artist, an interior designer, anything that has something to do with art and design. I even considered I considered everything. I could see myself in that field, being so passionate about the work that I do, but always ending up with, I even felt embarrassed of how I kept changing my mind. Looking back, I was still young. I didn't know what I wanted, and I was 18 or 20, 18 to 20, and 20s is for figuring things out. Okay, and even until now, I don't know what I want. I just added more into the list of what I want. I was confused of being someone else or being myself. As a nation, Filipino, there's often expectation to become a nurse. And honestly, there were times I wish that I had taken that path. It would have been easier for me financially. But I realized that money alone is not enough to make me happy. It wouldn't bring me the happiness that I wanted. What truly matters is doing what I love. And I love art. I love art and design. Just love everything. I love you. But yeah, I decided to take a gap year and work for the entire year. During that time, I wished someone had told me that I don't need to rush to succeed, to make it, or to start earning money. And I also wish I had been fully supported in pursuing what I genuinely wanted without the focus on financial security. Okay, so here comes the third dropout. I was so ready to get up again. I moved to London and this time I chose fine art. Finally, after always being an option, I finally decided to choose fine art. I was so excited to move to London with high expectations. Pandemic had just started a few months before, but I thought it would be over by the time I started university. And little did I know it would last 3 to 4 years. No one knows the future holds. All the classes were online and I spent most of my time in my accommodation. The lectures were online. It was really boring. Like, I wanted to experience the university life, the one that I see in movies. Again, I stayed for a while, holding on to the idea that I could make it work. Because I thought this was it. It's fine art. It's all I've ever wanted. The one I've been avoiding the most, the one I'm most scared of, finally chose it, only to end up like this. Before even considering fine art, I thought about it carefully. And because it was the only option left on my list, I just decided to go for it because I had nothing left and this is my last option. I had no choice but to go for it. Maybe if it weren't for COVID or having to work while studying, things would have turned out differently. Maybe I'd be in a completely different situation right now. I also had to keep working while studying because my student loan wasn't enough to cover my bills. So I had to keep taking money just so I could support myself. I had a bad experience in London, and looking back, London for me it's just pricey. No one can afford it but billionaires or rich people or having rich parents. But my parents aren't rich. They're always broke. I'm just kidding. And balancing my coursework and my job became overwhelming, so I decided to go back home. But my tutor told me that I can't finish the year unless I'm in campus, so I had to choose stay and suffer or quit. I lasted 2 years and I realized there is no point of continuing it if I don't see myself in this field in the long run. Afraid of going back home because I thought I have to make it first before going back home. That's what I thought. Like, I was just really scared, embarrassed that I moved to London. Now I'm going back home with nothing. I felt like I have to prove myself first before showing up. The whole experience was so different from what I had imagined. And looking back, I felt like London was a waste of time and money. Before dropping out, I made a plan to make sure that everything is going to be worth it. Dropping out doesn't have to feel heavy unless I have. But you know what's funny? I never really saw myself selling my art. Am I just saying that because I finally found my true calling or something else? I know I'm an artist. I know I paint well. I know my potential as an artist. I don't know. I would watch countless artists on YouTube I would learn how to sell and market my art, my paintings. But I just really don't see myself. I don't know. I guess I fell in love with the idea of making money from my art, and I wanted to profit from my hobbies, follow a path that wasn't even mine. I truly enjoy making art, like painting, but not to the point that I would sell it And with my business right now, it's a business, okay? I feel like this is not my art. Maybe because I still haven't found the connection that I wanted with the products that I make. But yeah, I wouldn't sell my paintings. Thought about selling them even as art prints, but just the idea of it doesn't feel right because I just can't imagine how I'm gonna be able to make this person feel something, because it's personal to me. It's my emotions, my memories, my own experience, and an expression of who I am and not something I made for others. Okay, this year I spent too much time complaining about my job and not taking action. I tried to find something I truly wanted. I truly enjoyed like teaching myself graphic design, but it didn't work out. I wasn't passionate about the process and often questioned what I was getting out of it. Feeling more excited about the salary, I also explored dropshipping. I got caught up in the wrong products and lost interest, even though I enjoyed designing websites and learning about the business model. Additionally, I attempted to start a clothing brand with a friend, but I struggled with the necessary capital and eventually gave up. Dropping out 3 times wasn't just about leaving school. It was about leaving behind that didn't feel like mine. I thought each of them was the one. There were so many decisive moments I had to go through, but with each step, I got closer to understanding what I truly wanted, even if it meant taking the long way. Each failure taught me more about myself and what I was meant. The low pay, the terrible schedule, building someone else's dream, not having control over my time, working late until 12 a.m., and not being able to prioritize my health. All these things were draining me. None of these things could give me what I truly wanted, the freedom to create, except for myself. I realized that I have the power to choose my own path, to create a life where I can do something different, something that aligns with my values. It wasn't until I hit a personal low point that I realized I needed to take control of my own path. That's when the idea of starting a business first came to me. No, actually no. I've always wanted to start a business since I was 18 for 7 years, but I was just too scared of starting because I didn't know what I wanted. I like art. I like making stuff, but I was struggling financially. I only have one job and my salary is just enough for me to live and survive in this world. My lifestyle is expensive, so it's either make more money or spend less. I choose both. I want to make more money and spend more. But obviously spending more on important things that really matters to me, like investing on my hobbies and all that. But I truly love taking risks, but this was the one risk I was afraid to take. It took me time to start this because it's something I have full control over and I'm on my own. It's different. Whatever happens to me also happens to my business. But something inside me knew that I had to try. I had to keep trying. I just love to spend money on my hobbies. Starting my business was like stepping into a whole new world. There was so much I didn't know, but I learned along the way. I started my own ceramic business called Muse. This wasn't the business I had originally envisioned. I wanted something different, but I realized that the one I had in mind is going to take a while to bring to life. I just have this vision in my head. I just can't fully express it yet, so that can wait. Muse became my creative outlet and my way of proving myself that my story didn't have to end in failure. With Muse, I have the freedom to do whatever I want. I get to incorporate the lessons from the courses I drop out of into something much bigger. I enjoy every bit that I do, and I'm finally doing what I love. This business is my top priority this year, and I hope to create more beautiful designs. While I won't limit myself to only ceramics, I plan to expand my products in the near future. But for now, let's focus on one thing, one step at a time. Right now, I'm struggling with my business because of my perfectionism, and I can't fully grasp the business mindset shift. But looking back, dropping out 3 times wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning of something so much bigger. Architecture showed me the world. Interior design taught me how to create spaces that reflect who we are, and fine art revealed what's inside. These courses taught me lessons that I still carry with me today. I don't regret any of it because even the mistakes was part of my growth. They've shaped who I am, and I always carry those lessons with me. I used to feel embarrassed about being a dropout, but now I see it differently. It's just one way to put myself down, and I've chosen to embrace it instead. I look at my journey with positivity. I may not be where I want to be yet, but reflecting on how far I've come has made me incredibly thankful for everything that's happened. Now that I'm building my business, I have full control over my creativity, and it's something I can truly call mine, and I'm determined to make it a success. My goal is to grow it and eventually work on it full-time as a self-employed artist and designer. What I love about my journey is that I'm not afraid to take risks or make big decisions. I truly love taking risks. In fact, I find it easier to make big decisions than small ones. Each time I drop out, I thought I was letting myself and others down. But looking back, those moments were shaping me in ways I didn't realize. But somehow I'm meant to do something else. I'm just really grateful for all these things that have happened to me because one, it got me closer to what I truly wanted. Two, I get to learn different things and I get to carry it with me forever. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, is that failure doesn't define you. What you do next is what matters. You're going to make mistakes, big mistakes, and make big decisions. But let those mistakes teach you something. It's going to take time and come with plenty of mistakes, but learn from them, do better next time, and carry those mistakes with you. Carry those lessons with you. Over time, you'll see the pieces come together, a completed puzzle. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of my journey. If this video resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe for more.